And the Communications Award goes to CLG Ardrahan for their magnificent publication of the history of the GAA and the Ardra parish. And accepting the award on behalf of the Ardra Club is George Doherty. Next award is the Hurler of the Year award, and the Hurler of the Year goes to Mickey O'Kane. Originally from our Abbey, now domiciled in Donegal and playing the hurling with 4 masters. Mickey has already started indoor hurling in our land, which will be a welcome boost to the county. The next award is the Footballer of the Year award. And that goes to Damien Diver of Ardra. And anybody watching television this evening will see Damien getting a goal out in Hong Kong. I told his 2 managers that they must be getting it wrong somewhere. Well done to Damien, he's been a great ambassador for the county, and to receive the award is his father, Tom Diver. Sinjuru and Hudson in this area may Antara O'Coughlin, couple of Focal Araliv. Antara O'Coughlin.
Mission East Ayrton and all. Here the aspect, here the Corla Hyundai, Hata Dala, Corlari, Yellow Special. Ní connig sibh bhád buchas na dia sin rud a sibh ré ach bhhail na mar dúspáide som me héana agus taí mhuias a bhil as an colour a bheith an seo ag an ágas bliontul. I was just remarking that as a St. Noel's woman, it was very difficult for me to give the prize to the people from the 4 Masters. But anyway, sure, needs must, and you have to rise above your station in odd time. But just to say very quickly, I'd like to congratulate everyone who has been awarded here this evening and who will be awarded in the future, most particularly those within the Hall of Fame who have given of their years of service at all levels within the GAA. And to finally wish everyone involved in the GAA at club level, underage level, at women's football, at hurling, to wish them every success for the future. And I'd like to particularly welcome our guests from the Ulster Council. It would be nice to take it back from Kerry. We want it back ourselves, but certainly it'd be nice to get it back to Ulster. And I'm sure every effort is being done to ensure that that will happen. But congratulations to everyone involved over the last year, most particularly in supporting your club. And I would just say, perhaps politically, that one of the concerns I'm sure that the clubs would have, as equally each and every one of us would have, is the fact that we need young people to support the club, not just at participation level, but in supporting all the clubs and their developmental side and administratively to ensure that you have a very vibrant organisation. And I would ask that the volunteerism that's involved in Commonwealth Scale would continue, because my view is that that has been the cornerstone of the development of this great organisation. So Arish Mowias is up and Karu August Fast Covards has Dahan in the north.
Again, my Vidara, and you have done your duty for the night, so thank you very much. We now move on to the next award, and the next award is the Overseas Award, which is being presented to Seamus Carr from Carrick, but now resident in London and a member of the Donegal GAA Club in London. So, Seamus, if you would please come to accept your award. And anybody from Donegal that has travelled across to London and the county whose name have benefited greatly from the hospitality of Seamus Carr, a richly deserved award. Now I will ask Seamus to say a few words, please.
Glad to be there. The wine of the ways for all board and conduits and honour Sean. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank sincerely the Donegal County Board for the honour they've given me here tonight. I would like also to thank, I was fortunate enough to grow up in the GAA, and my father, the rest of him, was former chairman of the Donegal County Board. And we went to have many good times together. I would like also to thank Neve Columba, my first club, Jimmy Cunningham and all the boys in Glen. And I would also like to thank Chicago Gales and also Donegal, New York, where I spent a very happy time there, along with a few people here tonight. I don't want to name names because if I do, I'll be in trouble. The only one I'd like to name here tonight is two people. That's my long-suffering wife, Breach, President Walsh, all my family, and all over. I'd also like to thank my twin brother, who is lucky enough not here tonight, so there's no confusion. And also, two reasons why I left Donegal was one was emigration at the time in the early 80s, and the second one, Brian couldn't make up the difference between the two of us, he could only play one. But there's only so many hospital passes you can take with a brother that I have, you know. So between the two of them, I just left and went to Chicago Gales in London, and for the past approximately 20 years they've been very good. And when we started there first, we were training in the back of the Wormwood Scrubs, and now we have our own place, and we have under 10s up to senior training there. And this weekend of all weekends, Kilcar are over there tonight, and just unfortunate anyway. But I would like to say thanks very much sincerely to my own club now in Chicago Gales in London. But it's very hard to forget the other two clubs, Donegal, New York, and the youth club at Glencullen Club. Thanks very much.
Rahel Maid Seamus. Before moving on to the second part, which is the presentation of medals to our victorious hurling teams, I just want to acknowledge that we have a couple of famous personalities from both football and hurling in our midst tonight. First of all, I would like to welcome Porrick Dunn from Gracefield in Offaly, who was midfielder with the 1982 of the team, you're very welcome to our function tonight. Down here, Corrigan, stand up, let us all see. Donald, thank you very much. And I think he's over to my left, a very famous Antrim hurler from the Armagh Club, good friend of Mickey O'Kane's, Alton McFetrich. You're both very welcome to tonight's function. Now, the next awards are the presentation of the Junior Hurling Team Division 3 medals and the Under 21 Ulster C medals. And I'm going to ask the President of the Ulster Council in the company of the Vice President of the Council, that's Neil Greenan and Tom Daly, if they would both come along and make the presentation of these medals. His mother comes from Gola Island, and Neil's good at telling stories, but there's one story he tells. He was selected for the Cavan minor team, and his mother wouldn't let him play. She wanted him to play for Donegal, and his brother managed to get the boots out of the house, and Neil went out the window and arrived for the match against Monaghan well into the first half. But he made his debut that day for Cavan. I don't know what the consequences were when he was home, but he certainly didn't play for Donegal, but we can remember him well as a referee. They're both very welcome. He's a half Donegal man, and we hope that the person who succeeds him, Tom Daly, this is their first year as President and Vice President of the Ulster Council, so you're both very welcome. Some of the members of the Under 21 team were also members of the senior hurling team, and we're going to deal, some of them will receive 2 medals, so we're going to deal with the people that will receive 2 medals first. But I want to call both captains, the captain of the senior team, Kieran Dowd from Burt, and the captain of the Under 21 team, James Donnelly, who from Shanbacools. Both of them can forward first. Kieran receives the senior medal. Kieran is the senior captain. Where's Jamesy? And Jamesy's coming here. Jamesy receives 2 medals. We're going to give the honour to the young people because some of them are receiving 2 medals. The next I'm going to call are Paddy McDermott, Martin McGrath, Jonathan McGrath, all from the Burt Club, receiving 2 medals. They all received 2.
Do you want to go to the whole time?
Get the whole team afterwards. Yeah. Next is Dara O'Brien and Enda McDermott from Burt. 2 each. 2 each, yes. Who? Where's? Oh, you're taking the 2. Okay, sorry, right. I thought he was here. From the Secanta Club, we have Danny Cullen Jr., Kevin Campbell, And James Callahan is not here, so could we have somebody, or will the boys accept his medal? They're all getting 2 each. Good, thanks. From the Four Masters Club, we have Declan Quinn and Anthony McGinaw. Anthony has a hurling match in Dublin in the morning, but his father is here, Seamus, and maybe you'll collect Anthony's medals. No, it's all singles now. Shield medals. That's the Division 3 shield. Those. Now it's the following were members of the Junior Hurling Shield team: Paul O'Brien, Niall Campbell, Andrew Wallace, Mickey McCann. Somebody take Mickey's medal. Niall or Andy, one of you. Darren McDermott. And Darren, will you also take Arnold's medal? And Barry Friels. Next is Sean Murphy. Three now from Setanta, and I don't think any of them are here. Warren Scanlon, Ryan Scanlon, or Anthony McDade. None of them here. Could somebody come up? Eamon Campbell, would you come up and accept the medals for the 3 boys? Next from Four Masters, the man of the moment himself, Mickey O'Kane. Barry Brennan. I don't think Peter Toomer is here. So Barry, would you accept Peter Toomer's medal? All the way from the Ruba Club in Ballyshannon, Johnny Dole. There's Johnny coming, right? From the St. Julian's Club, Colin Branagh, Cormac Hartnett, Shane Murphy not here. Dennis, will you come up and accept your son's medal? And finally, of the senior squad from the Carndonagh Club, he's not here, Fergal Doherty, but Elizabeth Doherty's here. Elizabeth, would you come and accept that medal, please? Remainder of the under 21 team members. From the McCool's Club, Barry McGee, Travis Griffin, Paddy Hannigan, John O'Malley, Gerald Grindle. Would somebody take Justin McGee's medal? Paddy? One for Justin McGee. Justin's not here. Or from the Four Masters Club, and there's none of these here. Liam O'Riordan, Declan Bushell. Would Seamus or somebody come and collect? And from the Board Club, Joe Boyle, Kevin McGavigan, not here. Could somebody from Burt accept those? Thanks, Kieran. Barry McGranahan, I don't think is here either. Eamon or somebody, would you accept Barry's medal? And finally, from the Carndonagh Club, Ryan Davenport. Ryan, I would ask the President of the Ulster Council, Micheál Greenan, to address you.
Here in Aspig, Hara, agus a conjugal air. A dús bara, a wagnam, a bhuichas a gawal, a Christa Kunda Donegal, Mariella and Curru hug shiftom, tapt and shaw and yacht, agus fehliv, Niha specialta shaw, specialta, the gach dinner, at our kangas of Suez, the come a Lucas scale, Secunda shaw. I just want to thank the County Board for inviting me here tonight and say that I'm delighted to be here on this special occasion. And on behalf of the Ulster Council, I would like to thank all the officers of the County Board here, but particularly the leadership we get from Charlie and Noreen, and all the officers as well, and all that they have done, have been doing, and I know that they will do for our association over the years to come. There are a number of people here in Donegal that I wish to thank as well, and of course one of them has to be the Vice Chairman of the Ulster Council, Tom Daly, who has given me so much support over the years and is continuing to do so. And in a few years' time, Tom will be here doing this job, and I'm sure everybody in Donegal looks forward to that day. I also want to thank the delegates from Donegal to the Ulster Council, Noel McCole and Mick McGrath. And you know, in Ulster, we've had a lot of success over the last 10 or 12 years. And all this hasn't happened by accident. It has happened because there's so much work going on at coaching level in this province, in all the counties. And that's probably the reason why they have been doing so well. And I was delighted when I was appointed president to ask Noel McCole to continue as chairman of the coaching committee in Ulster, and I was certainly delighted when he accepted that invitation, and he is continuing to ensure that coaching is to the fore in this province. And maybe that's the reason why some of the people in the south of the country have a difficulty with the rules at the moment, because Ulster is doing too well, and maybe that's the reason why, and maybe that's why we haven't got involved in the waste business of the sin bin and all the other bins. We don't need the bins. All we need to do is play the games in Ulster, and we've been doing that. And you know, about 15 or 20 years ago, when Ulster teams were going to Crow Park and were beaten by 10 or 15 points, and we clapped on the back and said, well done, you're doing well, keep up the good work, it was fine. But when Ulster teams started to come up like Donegal, Derry, Tyrone, Armagh, to win All Irelands, then there was a problem. And the rules were a problem. And the rules are always a problem when Ulster teams are winning. But when Kerry win with the same tactics that Donegal and Tyrone and Armagh employ, it's not a problem. But when the Ulster teams do, apparently it is a problem. And that's why the rules have to be tampered with. And I see no reason why we have to tamper with rules at the moment at all. The rules are fine. All we have to do is implement them, and we don't have a problem. And we will continue to play the games that should be played in Ulster, and I think that's the way forward for us. I suppose there's another man here I want to pay a special tribute to, and that is the man I suppose we really call him Mr. Railway Cup, because of what he has done for Ulster over the years as a player manager, and as a manager. And you know, not so many years ago we were the poor relations in the Inter-Provincial Series. Now we are ahead. And we are ahead because of him and the way he has gathered people around him to look after Ulster teams, prepare them for competition, And this year was a special tribute where we passed out all the other provinces for the first time. And it was held in Paris, which was a unique occasion. And when we were in Paris, we had a team unavailable of players who were unavailable through injury and otherwise, and still we had a team good enough to win the interprovincial, so that says a certain amount. And many people will talk of the man of the match on that day, and we've heard various names being mentioned. But in the first half, when the pressure was on, it was a Donegal man who held the thing together. And he wasn't a very big man, Niall McCready. And he, to me, was the man of the match on that day, because when we were really in trouble, he was the man who kept it together on that day. And it's also no coincidence that the Player of the Year in Donegal is not here tonight. He's away on other duties. So obviously, he's not alone the Player of the Year in Donegal. He's also well recognised further afield, and I think that's a tribute to Donegal. I want to also pay tribute to a number of people in Donegal, and I always equate them together. That is stewards, the people who do our gates, and our referees. Because stewards and referees have a lot in common, you mightn't believe it. Because the best that they can hope on a good day is they won't be abused. And that's only on the good days. On the bad days, God knows what will happen. And just when we are talking about referees, and Noel mentioned it earlier, he mentioned a few things I have to pull him up on, but I'll do that after a while. But there's the story about the fellow who was refereeing a match in the county. It wasn't Donegal, but it wasn't too far away. And at some stage during the game, there was a bit of a melee, and the referee was struck. And all hell broke loose. And eventually, law and order was restored anyway, and things got back together, and the player who struck the referee was duly sent off. A week or two later, he was summoned to the county board meeting, and he came anyway, made his case, which he didn't have much of a case, but he made one anyway. And he duly got his 12 months or 2 years, whatever the suspension was. And all was said and done, some of the lads said, "Look, Johnny, between ourselves, it's all over and done with now. But why did you hit the referee?" And he scratched his head and he says, "Well, to tell you the truth, lads, there was very little else I could do. I'd already warned him twice." I suppose 2004 was a great year for Ulster football, because we had the unique experience of an Ulster final in Croke Park for the first time in 60 years. A lot of people complained about it, but I think those who were there on the day will say that it was a very enjoyable and unique occasion, and it certainly was helped by the many people from Donegal who attended the match. And I was speaking to a number of people, and they were very happy that the game was in Croke Park on this particular occasion, because it meant that families could attend the game and people could go. Men who would normally go to a different venue on their own could go to that game with their wife and family, be that 2 or 3 kids, and enjoy the day. It certainly was a great occasion. Unfortunately, the result wasn't just as people here might have liked, but certainly we had a great occasion and we all enjoyed it. I want to thank Donegal for their input into that particularly great occasion. I want to thank the people in Donegal, and we've heard of quite a number of them here tonight, who have done so much in face of great adversity, and that's the hurling people in Donegal. Who have done so much to keep hurling alive in this county, which, as we all know, and most of the counties in Ulster are predominantly football counties. But we have so many people who do so much for hurling, and we see here tonight, with all the success we had, the only medals to be presented were hurling medals, so it means that there's something happening with hurling in Donegal, and I say thank you very much for what you're doing. I just want to pull Noel up on something. He said that my mother came from Gola, and I was a half Donegal man. He got it half right. I was actually born in Gola myself, so I would say I'm a little more than a half Donegal man. And I don't know, people will say I'm the 6th president of the Ulster Council from Cavan, but I know if my mother was alive, she would like to think I was the 4th president of the Ulster Council from Donegal. There's another issue that we hear so much about, and it's been discussed, and I think discussed far too much, and that is the issue of Rule 42 and the opening of Croke Park. I don't intend to say very much about it tonight, but I want to make 1 or 2 relevant points that I think. We have a great association, and like all great associations, we do have our difficulties. And you know, there are many difficulties in our association. We have a difficulty with discipline. We have a difficulty with coaching. We have a difficulty maybe even with referees. Pat Spillane would think we have a difficulty with the level of football we're playing. I would dispute that. But Pat Spillane has his own view and I certainly have mine. But we also have the state of hurling. And there are so many issues that we in the GAA need to and should be discussing. And there's no need for us to be discussing the use of Croke Park at all. Because at this stage, to the best of my knowledge, and I know a little bit about it, we don't even have an application from anybody for the use of it. So I would hate to see our association split down the middle for an issue that should not be an issue at all. And what we should be doing is addressing the issues that need to be addressed and forget about the ones that are not our issues at all. That's all I'll say at the moment. As I said, I feel very much at home here in Donegal tonight because I do happen to have a lot of Donegal connections and I have a lot of cousins in Donegal, many of them who played club football and some of them even represented the county at minor and various levels. So I do have a keen interest and I always look, when I look at the fixtures on Monday morning, at the results of Gweedore, which would be my native county, only my mother left to go to Cavan and didn't stay in Donegal. But that's another day and Noel told you the story about that. I think I've said enough now, I think, but just to tell you a wee story too, another one, maybe I shouldn't be delaying you, but there's a wee story about a fellow who lived in Cavan. He did a bit of referee and he lived up a long narrow lane and there was only one other family on the lane. Their names were Calories, C-I-L-L-E-R-Y. Some of you may have heard this story before, if you have, bear with me. But they were always in trouble at law, fighting. If they met on the lane, neither of them would go back. They would threaten other with all sorts of implements. And they were in court one day and he was fined 200 and they were fined 4. He reckoned he won. I reckon they both lost. But that's another day's work. But anyway, at one stage, this other man, I'll not mention his name in case somebody here would know him, but he wasn't feeling that well. And the wife, after some persuasion, got him to go to the doctor. And he went to the doctor and sent him to the hospital for some tests. It wasn't Tom Daly's hospital, but it was a hospital anyway, and he was tested anyway, and the doctor showed him we'll send for you in a week's time. So he came back in a week's time anyway, and he went in, and there was a wee doctor who wasn't from Ireland, shall we say, anyway, and he explained to him that, John, my good man, you're not in very bad shape, but you could do with losing some weight, and you could do, watch what you eat, and generally keep an eye on the calories. The figures, do you know them too? So, just finally to say that there's 1 year of my 3 years gone. I have 2 more to go. And nothing will give me greater pleasure in one of those 2 years would be the first Donegal President of the Ulster Council to present the Cup to a Donegal captain. Thank you very much.
Now, just before we move on to the next section, there are envelopes on your table for a draw. If you would kindly put a donation in the envelope and write your name on the outside, Paul Duncan and Martin McLaughlin will go round and collect them. And we hope to have the draw as soon as we're finished with this part. GAA scale. Tonight, the Scorn and Og Ulster final took place in Scottstown in County Monaghan, and Brígí ní Bhfuil as Gweedore won the recitation section of the Scorn and Og, and she's now qualified to represent Donegal and Ulster in the All-Ireland final. So, co-guardians of Brígí. Okay, we now move on to part 3, which is the Hall of Fame Awards. And as you know, we have 3 recipients of the Hall of Fame tonight, namely Jack Hannigan McCool's, Paul Callahan of Bourke, and Mark Crossan of St. Junans. And what Brendan has done, put together a video lasting about 12 minutes featuring all 3 recipients. So if you could watch the videos now, and we'll have a look at the video and what's on it, and then we'll move on to the presentations.
Oh, 60 years. Paddy Murphy asked me to do it, and I'm doing it since.
And did you ever come across any awkward customers?
A lot of times, and a lot of contrary people.
And how would you deal with them then?
Oh, we just to try and piece them down and let them on at the finish up. I remember the first big game I saw here was the Kerry. They played the opener of the pitch here in Shan McCool Park. And I remember an evening that Dunlow and Gidor met, and the third replay in the championship was played here. And I think it was the greatest football match I've ever saw. Well, it's a long time ago. And the only thing I can recall was that this was the only enclosed pitch in Donegal at the time. And they thought it was better to play it here in case there would be any rumpus. Well, the best club teams I saw was what I said before, was the Dunlow Gidor match. He had Donegal too, of course, a very good county team at that stage. He had Down, he had Cavan, and he had Monaghan. All good teams. I think that's as far as I can remember anyhow. But I don't remember any years, what the years I played on.
Jack, I believe you know Shan McCool here after who the pitch was named here. A good friend of yours.
Very, very well. I remember Shan, where he took me to school. And he learned us to play, my brothers and I, and to play gilly football in the backyard. And I wonder one day in the backyard it wasn't broken. Well, Shan and I were good buddies. Many's a run I done for him, unknown to both civic yards, the detectives, and the police in Derry. I drove him through Derry one Sunday night, and he was banned from the north altogether. And I got him to a place he was going and brought him back home safe. And we visited, when we were coming back at 3 o'clock on a Sunday morning, we visited his 2 aunts in Bishop Street in Derry. Well, I'd like to see Donegal win another championship. And of course my own local club, McCool's, won the championship, which I haven't won now for a number of years.
My first few competitive games was in the McKenna Cup against Mullen and Ballybay in '92. I made my nice league debut against Kildare, away to Kildare, and my championship debut was in McCool Park here against Antrim. Okay, my memories on and off the field in '92. I suppose the first game against Cavan was my first ever campaign with Donegal in the championship, and you know it was great, the great buzz in the change room, and championship football, that's what you're training for all year. The memories of that was Tony Boyle's goal. Was it inside the square or not? The flick on. Of course, Mark McHugh's point, the strike he made from 40 or 50, 60 yards. Gets longer every time you speak to him, but I think it was around about between 50 and 60 yards. Then we were lucky to get out of Breffni. The replay back in McCool Park, that was just from word go, that was going to be Donegal. From word after 5-10 minutes, we were in control of that game, and we just knew we were going to come out and win that game for us. The Fermanagh game, there's a few things in the Fermanagh game sticking in my mind. Was Tommy Ryan scored a great goal that day. I think he came through from the halfway line and stuck it in the back of the net. I also remember there was a bit of a scrap behind the goals up on the hill. A few Donegal fans and a few Fermanagh fans must have fell out, and they were rolling about and rolling down the hill, and we kept our eye on that for about 5 minutes. But the highlight, and I suppose maybe it's the thing I think that maybe made us win the All-Ireland, is one of the major facts. I know it was in the change room afterwards, where some of the senior players decided to ask Brian and Anthony to up the training a bit, because they thought they weren't fit enough and they were going to give it one last year. You know, when the training did, I mean, as a young fella, I thought training was tough enough, and to hear these players looking for more training and to actually want more training. And after that, before we were playing Derry in the Ulster final, we really trained hard. Playing Derry in the Ulster final, you know, it was a local derby for me. I'm right on the Derry border, and a few things that stick out of that game was, I suppose, Tony Boyle getting injured, but getting kicked by Anthony Toll, and then John Cunningham was sent off. I suppose with a high elbow near the sideline. And it was a very, very tense game, and it wasn't really over to the very end. There was some great scores that day. Mark McHugh and Tommy Ryan both had a great game that day, and some magnificent scores. The semi-final against Mayo, I suppose the video of Donegal never winning in Croke Park was hanging over our heads, and you know, as people look back in that game, and it's kind of a game where we played bad and Mayo played bad, and you know, it's a game a lot of supporters forget about, but we had to win it, we had to dig deep, and you know, the boys had to put on a performance to win it. One of the incidents that kind of sticks out in my head was a big high ball came into the square, and Liam McHale flicked it on and hit the crossbar, and it bounced between two Mayo forwards and bounced into Shevlin's hands, and he cleared it. And any other day that would have probably fell to a forward and then stuck it in the back of the net. So that moved on then to the final, Donegal's first ever All-Ireland final, and most of the county was going mad with excitement leading up to that. I remember the night before the game, we went to Shelburne Dog Track, and we watched a few of the greyhound races, and we were sitting in the bus waiting on Brian McAnuff was doing an interview, and Packy Boner was doing an interview, so they were doing an interview for RTE, and we were sitting in the bus, and the bus was fairly quiet, and there was boys waiting. So I was thinking about the game the next day, and the door had been opened in the front of the bus, and I'll never forget this well-to-do Dublin guy coming on, with a 50 or 60-year-old man with a three-piece suit and a long coat coming on. He looked down the back of the bus and looked around the Donegal players, and he started shaking his head. He says, "Donegal in the All-Ireland final." He said, "The joke of a lifetime," and he walked off the bus. Well, he got a few bits of abuse thrown at him, but that was brought up in the change room. It kind of sunk in what we're up against. And then even in the change room, we're getting matchboxes and glasses and lighters with Dublin All-Ireland champions in '82, showing days that they were kind of cocky, and that kind of raised it as well. And then the All-Ireland final, I mean, it flew past, and it was a great day, great performance. You know, Donegal's highlight of their GAA history. And one photograph that sort of sums it up for me. If anybody's ever gone to the Heaney's in Balfay, if you ever look at there's a photograph on the wall. It's Brian McAnuff walking behind the goals, between the back of the goals and Hull 16, and he's looking at his watch, and he looked at his watch, smiling, knowing that it's all over, and Donegal have won the All-Ireland.
Brian McAnuff asked me to come into the panel in September '91, along with Paul Callahan and Jim Guinness, and the three of us were kind of the young people on the team at the time. And I suppose we were taken onto the wing to the likes of Malloy and Charlie Mulgrew, Martin McHugh, some of the legends of now, and they kind of looked after us as young fellas on the team at that stage, and we kind of got into it well or whatever. And then it was in '92, then you were playing along with the likes of, or training along with the likes of them boys or whatever, and the training was just fantastic or whatever. Anthony Harkin was a brilliant trainer, and then he went from that to the championship or whatever. Unfortunately, myself or Paul or Jim never got a game in '92, but except for McKenna Cup game. I suppose my first memory of coming on for championship football was against Armagh. Brian McGowan, he came off injured, and I kind of went on McAnuff gave me the shout or whatever, and I went on as at half back. And I suppose from that day to this day, I was kind of, or that day till 2 years ago, I held my place on the team for as long as I could. Either playing half back, corner back, full back. I kind of played all positions in Donegal. I suppose a half back would be my favourite place, but you kind of get. I was lucky enough in the fact that I could play in any position in defence, so it was grand, you know. 92 was a great year for us, whatever. We went on to win the All-Ireland, of course. Some of the great memories of that there was the Cavan game, which was the draw, and then the Ulster final where John Cunningham got the line, and we were sitting on the sideline panicking ourselves, whatever. I think we were on the sideline nearly running onto the pitch more times than enough, whatever. Because it was such a close game, and particularly coming close to the end, you were down to 14 men. It was exciting stuff. And then going on into the Mayo game, which wasn't the best game in the whole campaign or whatever, but we eventually got through it. And then the All-Ireland final, of course, the atmosphere, it was just fantastic, whatever. The bus journeys on the way back, they were one of the best cracks, whatever. You had Declan Bonner, Joyce, Anthony Malloy, Donald Reid, taking up the back seat or whatever, and basically dictating what kind of songs was sang and what the crack was and who was playing cards here, and just basically what was happening the night before and what they did or whatever. Just the stories they got there on the bus, some of them just can't be told here now on this stage or whatever, but they were just brilliant crack altogether. I suppose it evolved my career. I'd be very thankful or whatever. I have had 12 good years with Donegal. I wouldn't change a thing from this day to this day to now. I loved every minute of it. Even the hard slogging around the pitches and stuff like that there, when you're running around Drumbow or Donegal Town, muck up to your ankles, I wouldn't change a thing. I was very lucky that I had 12 good years. I got 102 games out of my career for Donegal, and I just have great memories of it, and I would just love every minute of it.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we move forward, and if you look in the booklet, you'll see inside the cover all the recipients of Hall of Fame awards, bulk of them presented to the 92 squad. We've also honoured footballers and hurlers who have given long service to the county, administrators in football, hurling and handball. But tonight is unique in that we recognise one of the many volunteers who are so valuable to our association throughout the breadth of the land, and particularly in our own county. Jack Hannigan is the man, as a volunteer, has manned the tunnel entrance to McCurl Park Sunday after Sunday, be it club match, county match, be it a league match, be it a championship match, be it an Ulster Council or a National League match. It was immaterial. Hail, rain or snow, Jack is there. He's entering the Hall of Fame 2005 in his 92nd year. Well done to you, Jack. Jack, could we please have you up here, accompanied by your daughter, Antoinette. Kyle Labarge and Cundy will present Jack with his blazer entering them into the Hall of Fame. Jack in the video clip talked about driving. Jack is still driving, bought himself a new car last year, 2004, changes his car every 2 years. We wait to see what happens in 2006. I'm quite sure he'll change the car again. Jack, well done. And I suppose in the jacket he was wearing, something that I'll never have, a gold pioneer pin. An honourable man, well done. Jack has declined to say anything, and we appreciate him for coming along and thank him for the wonderful service that he has given to club and county down through the years. Thank you, Jack. We now move forward to the retiring members of the 92 squad. In the video there, Paul Callahan said he made his debut against Monaghan and Ballybay on the 12th of April 92. He played his final match on the 12th of March in the year 2000, again in the McKenna Cup against Derry and Celtic Park. He was understudy to Gary Welch for most of his time in the squad. He became first choice keeper in 97, and a serious calf injury curtailed his career. He received that injury in 1998. He played a total of 33 matches for Donegal, 4 senior football championships, 22 national leagues, 7 McKenna Cup. He still plays for his club, Burt. Paul is currently employed as Games Promotion Officer for hurling in Donegal. He managed the 2003 Minor C All-Ireland winning championship team and also managed the under-21 team that you saw receiving their medals here tonight. He was assistant manager and trainer of the senior team. He has toured Australia with the under-17 compromise rules team last year, and he's a qualified level 1 tutor. Tomorrow he's heading off for Antrim. He is co-manager along with Sambo McNaughton of the combined Ulster University's Fitzgibbon Cup team. Paul, can we please have you up here to become a member of the Hall of Fame? Paul, you better not leave her behind. You only got her last June. Can we have his wife Karen here as well, please? Now I'll ask Paul to address you. Paul Callahan.
Thanks very much. When I think back of all the people who received the green jackets before me, both in hurling and football, and especially the 92 squad, very humble and very privileged to be up here to be a part of it. Looking back, Brian rang me in 1991 and asked me would I consider joining the Donegal panel, and he didn't have to ask me twice. I mean, I was a Donegal fan from a very early age, and I followed Donegal everywhere, and you know, to come and play and train with the boys you idolised, and you know, had a great respect for, as a dream come true for any young lad. And it's great to see that I've been part of Donegal's one in a row. So, as Mark said there, you know, the crack, you know, there's loads of stories about on the field, but the real crack was in the back of the bus. There's good stories in the back of the bus, and as I said, we came on, myself and Mark, two youngsters, and we couldn't get near. We were maybe 3 or 4 seats in the back seat because we were all mature players, and all the boys were down the back telling stories, and you just had to be down the back to listen to them and hear the stories. And you know, Brian was there, and if we won, Brian would come down and have the crack with us, and if we were beat, Brian would be up the front of the bus, maybe huffing, or maybe thinking about what went wrong or how he's going to sort it out for the next day. We used to say Brian had a wee sign when we knew he was lying. His lips moved, and I remember he was down the back of the bus, and Donald Reid and him were slagging about each other and giving themselves a bit of abuse. And Brian said to Donald, "You're a bold boy, Reid, you're a bold boy." He said, "When I die," he says, "you'll probably come back and pee in my grave." And Donald said, "No, I won't, Brian. I don't like standing in queues." And then there was Declan Bonner, probably the greatest footballer that I've ever listened to. You know, myself and him was before one of the National League finals against Dublin. We were staying in the hotel, and we decided Shelburne were playing St Pat's in the FAI quarter-final or semi-final. Self and Declan decided to go for a walk down to see the game. So we're about 15 minutes late anyway, and we went to the steward and he said, "Any chance of getting into this game?" And he said, "No bother, we just go." So he told us to go in and walk behind the goals and go over to the seating area on the far side and watch the game. So myself and Declan were walking across anyway, and there was about 7,000 or 8,000 at the game, and maybe 3,000 supporters behind the goals. So walking behind the goals anyway, and the fans, they always spotted us, and they started singing. Declan Bonner, starts with W, but not said here, Declan Bonner. So I was kind of feeling embarrassed for Declan, and I was walking on and head down, feeling sorry for him, and he nudged me in the shoulder. "Does you hear that, Callahan? That's when you know when you've made it," he said. "That's when you know when you've made it." True story. So I'd just like to thank the county board for laying on this night. It's been it's a great night for me, and I'm really enjoying it. And even the work they do behind the scenes. I mean, sometimes they don't get the credit for the work that goes on behind the scenes. And I work for the GAA and work for the county board, and you know, it's like when you're playing for your own club and you're involved in your club, you don't know what goes on in your club. You think the grass cuts itself sometimes, and it's when you start getting older and involved in the club, you realise what's going on. And now that I'm involved with the county board, I really see what's going on and appreciate what they do for both for clubs and the county teams. And there's two people I'd like to especially mention who are involved in coaching, which I'm involved in, and that's Mick Murphy and Noel McCall, who do a lot of work and a lot of help with me regarding coaching. Just like to thank my family and my friends, especially my mother and father. Unfortunately, my father can't be here. He passed away a few years ago, but it's great to see my mother here. It's been inspirational behind me through my career, and a really, really great person. So just great to see you, and thanks that you're here tonight. I'm very proud to say that I've never been sent off in my career. You know, either at any sport, at any level, through my career, I've never been sent off. But I've been very close at a few occasions. One of those occasions was this year in the Intermediate Championship. Burt were playing Buncrana, kind of local derby, Burt and Buncrana local derby, and things weren't going well for Burt. We weren't playing that well, and myself and the referee were getting on a bit of abuse. So we'll call him Michael for the sake of it. His name was for just handing the sake, and I thought we should have got maybe 2 penalties, and he was slagging me, and I gave away a penalty, and I was saying, "You don't know the rules of the game," and he was telling me that I don't know the rules of the game. So he was kind of thick with me, and I was kind of thick with him. So we're walking on at half time anyway, and I said, Michael. He said, what? I said, can you be sent off for thinking? He said, what? I said, can you be sent off for thinking? He says, nah. I said, are you sure now? He said, aye, nah. I said, why do you ask that? He said, I think you're a bollocks. So the GAA's been very good to me. I've been all around Ireland playing for Donegal, representing Donegal. And I've been around Britain, England, and Scotland representing Donegal. I've been in America. Last year was a very, very special year for me. As Noel mentioned, I was one of the managers for the Irish team, and I toured Australia with the Irish team, and it was a good occasion. It was a very proud moment for me. As also last year was very special that I got married last year. I couldn't be happy all my life, so happy well done. No, on a serious point, I got married to Karen last year, and I highly recommend it. I recommend that so much that Mark's taken me on board, and he's finally popped the question too. So, as you know, people say you must be great to represent your club and represent your county in '92 to be from your club and represent Donegal. But that was a wee bit special. I was very proud that I was representing provincially. I'm from Inishowen. I was very, very proud that that I did represent Inishowen. That nobody in the panel except for me, and I was very proud that some of the people in some of the clubs in Inishowen sort of looked at me and was a representative on the '92 squad, and that's very important to me, and I'm very proud of that. And there's some great clubs and some great GAA people in Inishowen, and not a traditionally strong GAA area. One person in particular I'd like to thank from Inishowen, a man that know Brian maybe would ring him up an odd time when the time at Inishowen won the senior championship, and asked him maybe did any of the Inishowen players be good enough for a chance, and this person always kind of nominated me, so maybe he put my name in Brian's head, and that's John Fields from ours, and I'd just like to thank him for that. So just my own club. What are we famous for? Hurling and fighting maybe, and not in that order. Some of our tactics was you can't get the man, get the ball. We're from a small club, a small catchment area, and small members, but we're proud people, and we're great people. Very proud from where I'm from, and my teammates. I'd like to thank them and thank my club for the years they've given me support, and I've only 1 or 2 years left with me playing for Burt, so we'll try and get maybe an intermediate championship or get back up to Division 1 where we were a few years ago. But I'd just like to thank my club anyway for the support they've given me. And one person in particular would like to thank is Danny Dowds, who introduced me to Gaelic football. When I was at 7 or 8, he introduced me to Gaelic football, and he's kept football alive in Burt for many years. Burt will be a hurling area, and he kept football alive, and I'd just like to thank him for that. I remember getting on a bus going to Dublin, the CIE bus in Letterkenny, and it stopped in Monaghan. It stops for 15 minutes in Monaghan. So I was sitting down anyway, and the buses started to get piled up, and bit by bit all seats were getting taken. I know you like going to Dublin, nobody sitting beside you, but eventually this priest came on and sat down beside me in the seat. So he said to me, the weather and bits and pieces, he said, where are you from? I said, I'm from Burt. I said, Burt? He says, use your son boys down there, he said. So he pulled up the drag of his trousers and this big scar in his leg, like 6 or 7 inches scar in his leg. He said, look at that. I said, right, father, he said, I got that playing a match down in Burt. Well, I got hit with a hurling stick. He said, wouldn't mind, he said, but it was a football game. So just on behalf of it's good to see Donegal hurlers here, both the seniors and under 21s, and I was involved with under 21s this year. And I'd just like to say that the hurlers put a lot of time and a lot of effort into they're very proud to wear the jersey too. I know we're a football county here, and rightly so, but these hurlers put a lot of time and a lot of effort into the game, and they're very, very proud to play for Donegal. They're very, very proud of the hurling game, and maybe the odd time, maybe some people here aren't hurlers or not that interested in hurling, but if we are GAA people, there's parts of the game are hurling, and camogie and rounders. It's all part of the GAA, you know. So maybe next time Donegal's playing, sometimes the hurlers play before the senior football, so just maybe come along a wee bit earlier sometime and have a look at them, because they deserve it. One of his weakest points is his fashion sense. He's not too trendy, and I assume Sheena's boys will back me in that. So see him put his head down here. So we're over to play Dublin over in Glasgow in a challenge game, and we're to go over on the Saturday and come back on the Monday. And I asked Noreen, could I go over on the Friday? I have relations over there, could I go visit the relations? And Celtic were playing the Saturday, so I sort of killed two birds with one stone. So Noreen arranged for me to go over on the Saturday, so that's fine. I went and stayed with my relations, and on the Saturday I went to the Celtic game, and then I met up with the Donegal team on the Saturday evening, and we had a game on the Sunday against Dublin, and then Sunday evening we had a gala do something like this where I think Martin O'Neill was there and Packy Boner. We had a fairly official do. There was plenty of drink going and everybody was in good form. So the word got around there was a new wine bar opening across the road. So we decided to go across the wine bar. There was 5 or 6 Donegal boys and 5 or 6 of the Dublin team. There was Vinnie Murphy and Chai Reb and all the big names. We were heading across this wine bar. So we're walking across, and we walk across the street, and the 6 or 7 Dublin boys and 6 or 7 Donegal boys, and we had all the McGee suits with Donegal crests on us, and the Dubs had all the, sponsored by Arnott's, had the Arnott suits on them. So all looking fairly well, but Mark, he had I think at the bottom the suit on, I'm not sure, he had a pair of trousers on anyway, and a tennis t-shirt, you know. And I had a few beers on them as well. We're walking across anyway, and we're walking in one by one, and I got in and they all got in, and Mark was stopped. Mark said, "What's wrong?" And the boy pointed at his t-shirt and the sign up on the wall, "Neat dress essential." So Mark said, "Well, that's all right, I'll go back to the hotel." And I said, "Mark, me and you stay in the one room, there's the keys in my room, go back up to the hotel, get a shirt or a jacket or something, come back down and meet us in here." So Mark said, "No bother," and away he went. So I was standing in the back of the wine bar with a few Donegal boys and Dublin players, and about 15 minutes later, Mark came walking across the floor, and I just bust out laughing, you know. And he's wearing this red jumper with the flowers in the front of it, a red woolly jumper with flowers on it. So the Dublin boys, they started laughing, the Donegal seen, so the whole lot of us were bent over laughing at this jumper, a red jumper with flowers on it. So Mark was kind of getting thick, everybody laughed at him, and me and Stitches laughing at him, pointing at this jumper, and he came up to me and he said, "What are you laughing at?" I said, "I got that jumper in your bag." I said, "I know, Mark." I said, "My aunt gave it to me to take back to my mother for a Christmas present." That's a true story. So I'd just like to finish up now. Just like to thank all my managers that have been under, is Brian down there, PJ McGowan and Declan Boner, to all the supporters and to all the players that I played with. Just thanks for the memories. Thanks very much. Thank you.
I hardly need to introduce the final recipient after that. But however, our next recipient is Mark Crossan, and Mark made his debut on the same day as Paul did in a McKenna Cup, and from '93 onwards was a regular member of the Donegal squad, and ever present indeed, and reached the magic number of 99 games when he received a serious cruciate ligament injury. And it took him a long while to get that 100 game, and as you heard himself say, he played 102 matches for Donegal. So he's also a member of the 100 club. Well done, Mark. It takes a good player to reach the magical figure of 100. That cruciate ligament injury, of course, was the start of the end of his career, and the following year he gave up inter-county football altogether. He's still playing for his club, St. Junan's, quite an accomplished hurler as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mark Crossan. I don't know where you are, Siobhan, but we want you up here to see the approval of this.
You need to show flowers.
Hello, folks. I wasn't sure which way to wear this jacket, whatever it's just the right way, is it? My dress sense wouldn't be that great, apparently. Everything Paul said there was 100% right. I wouldn't be the best dog-leg man in the world, but I'm always comfortable in what I wear, and I'm happy that's kind of I'm easy, kind of going, kind of creator. I'm not too bothered about certain things, and that doesn't bother me. I'm not going to keep you too long here, folks. I have a few people to thank. I have a few people to clear up. First of all, I had a wee look there from the Four Masters Club. It wasn't the Four Masters pitch, it was out in rugby. The rugby grounds were trained in 92, so that kind of, your pitches are fine. I suppose the main man I need to thank is possibly Brian McAnuff. As Niall said, whatever there, I won, or I was played for Donegal, I played for Ulster, I played for Ireland, and in every one of them, Brian was the manager of them there. So he must have had great faith in me as a player, and I would just wish to thank him on behalf of that day, because I have great time for Brian as well, and I'd just like to thank him publicly, whatever, to say thanks very much for everything. I had 12 good years playing for the county, mostly injury free, maybe an odd wee stupid kind of hamstring trouble here, or an odd wee thing, whatever, but I was very lucky in my career, whatever, with Donegal, whatever, and I suppose that's maybe the reason why, one of the reasons why I got as far as 100 games or so. I loved what I did. And as I said in the thing or whatever, I would do exactly the same thing tomorrow morning if I could. I would go back out playing McKenna Cup again if I was able to, but between the knee and the kind of age catching up with me, I kind of have to pull the pin at some stage or realise that you kind of have to retire. I love Gaelic football, I always have, and I just wish I was able to play it again properly. Thanks to Brendan Kilcoyne, he's kind of given me a wee shot, a couple of games last year when they were there with the club. So I was able to get back playing a couple of games last year. Hopefully now I'll get the knee built back up again. I'll be able to play a couple of games this year again just to keep me in touch with Gaelic. Basically, folks, I have very little to say. Whatever what Paul was saying there about the 92 team, it's been a fantastic memory for me. From the very moment that we came in, I was lucky that me and Paul joined together, and it's fitting that the two of us are actually retiring together or getting our green jackets together as well. So it's actually a nice thing that we started together and we're finishing together in the one day. So I'd just like to thank basically Paul. Paul looked after me in every way. in more ways than I'm going to say here now. He was always the kind of pioneer of the thing or whatever, and he kind of took me by the hand whatever and led me. And if I wanted to get home, whatever, I knew that I could always count on Paul to kind of look after me. And many a night I stayed at Mrs. Carroll's house, whatever, as well. So thank you very much. Anyway, folks, I'm just going to have a great night. It's been a great crowd, but thanks very much for everything all through the 12 years I was there, and best of luck to you.
Thank you very much, Mark. As we said, he did play over 100 matches for the county and played for the Ulster Railway Cup, and also was played for Ireland. So he's never lost it, really. He's the same guy that we got to know as a young lad in '92, and always good delegating the authority, Mark. Thank you very much. So that brings us to the end of that part. Our three recipients are here behind us with their partners, so it's a big night for them, and I think we could give them another round of applause. Over to the Cairla Board and Condy, who will wrap matters up now. So, Cathal O'Donnell, Cairla Board and Condy.
Just before I wrap matters up, I would, again, as I earlier done, I want to welcome John and Miriam Malai, who are our gear sponsors here, and I would invite them to come and join us here on the platform. As you know, Azuri have been our main gear sponsors now. This is our third year as sponsors, and we are grateful to Azuri and to John and Miriam for the amount of support that they have given us over the last number of years, and we're delighted to say that they'll stay with us for another 2 years at least. So I would ask John Malai to address you.
Your Lordship, Ministers, TDs, members of the Ulster Council, Chairman, distinguished guests, many thanks for the invite for this special occasion tonight. It's a pleasure for Miriam and I to be amongst such distinguished players, past players, and people associated with sport of GAA. Miriam and I are obviously here as representatives of the company Azuri. To tell you a little bit about Azuri, Azuri is Miriam and my company. In 1982, Miriam and I went off to South Africa for 5 years, and we worked in Soweto, actually, in the clothing industry. And when we came back, Miriam, in her part-time, to subsidise our income, started sewing from the spare bedroom in the house, which I can now say are full of 5 kids. So we had to move the business out of there. And the business developed on from that's the start we got. I remember my mother, God rest her soul, she said to me, if you work hard and don't tell lies, you get on in life. And that may be true, and I'm sure it's true for a lot of people, but there's some other things you need in life, and it's a break. When we got our GAA licence 3 years ago, first of all, I want to thank the GAA for welcoming us in and for giving us that opportunity. For that, I'm very grateful for them. But after we got the licence, we still required some counties to give us the opportunity. And then what you need in life is you need people to take faith in you and give you a break. And for that, I have to thank Brian. I have to thank Brian McAniff, Noreen Doherty, and I have to thank Charlie O'Donnell, because but for them, I wouldn't be here, and Azuri probably wouldn't be here as a company, because whilst Miriam and I's ambition was always to develop a sportswear brand, you're nowhere without a customer. And we absolutely and utterly appreciate the custom that we've got from you. We have signed up for a deal for a few more years. It's getting more and more competitive, and hopefully we'll be able to raise things a bit better over the few years again, and we can even go a lot further than this. I would love to think that I could be involved with Donegal for many years to come. I appreciate it's a competitive business. But in the time we've been here, I think we've developed it on well in the couple of years. We're actively involved now more so with Charlie Cannon, and I want to thank Charlie Cannon for the way that he works with us. It's an absolute pleasure to be involved with himself. We work together with him on the supply of kit, as everyone knows, on the supply of replica kit, which is important earnings for the county board. We work in areas of summer camps, supporting the golf outing. Recently we've introduced a competition called Team of the Month. It was a unique idea between us, and it's about supporting underage GAA. It's not just about winners, it's about anybody who participates in the sport. In fact, we go out of our way to try and pick sometimes teams who've never won anything but just from endeavour. So if you can just write a nice letter in about your club, team and further effort, you have every chance, as much as any teams who've won, to try and win this Team of the Month. And I'm also obviously involved in special events like tonight, which, as I said, is an honour for myself and Miriam to be here at. I would like to acknowledge also the players that are here tonight, past and present players. I appreciate that the effort that they put in is just incredible in an amateur sport. I know that the county board, the management, work very closely in an amateur sport to do their best by them. Everything from the quality of the kit, the quality of the service, holidays or whatever else can be raised. And I know they're trying to do it, and it's a difficult job trying to earn funds. We'd like to continue to try and work where we can to contribute to those funds. I'd like to make a special acknowledgement of the level of hurling players that are here tonight. Coming from a hurling county like Port Larriga, it's great to see the level of hurling here. Just a little short story. Being next door to Kilkenny, you can appreciate the slagging we got off over all the years. And I'm not sure if you heard of the recent batch of hurleys that arrived in Waterford, and the story going around Kilkenny was we had to send them back because they had no instructions on them. I'd like to wish continued success to our to the hurling and the development of hurling in the county. I'd obviously also wish to continued success for the Donegal team, who I had myself, Miriam and my children had the pleasure to be invited and associated with in the All-Ireland semi-final and be in the hotel with him, be in the mass before the game. It was one of the most great occasions in my life, and I thank you for that opportunity, Brian, for me and my kids to be there with you. And also to travel with the bus to the game. It was a great occasion. I understand there's good odds down at the moment on Donegal for the Sam Maguire and Port Larriga for the Lee McCarthy. So that would be a nice one if next year we could be celebrating both those. I'm famous I went to Christian Brothers in Waterford. I'm famous for hiding in the class, for my Gaelic isn't the best, so I had to get some support from my kids who go to the Gael School in Waterford to say the last few lines, so please excuse me if I offend anyone. But Akar Hirlach, Tommy Fain, August Miriam, Ansas de Leve and Shaw Livenut, August Bowalum, Ardvor, Ahart, Labreen, August on Fern, Aaron Son on Dleen, Otaron. Garamilama with Galer, Bear Bua, Donegal.
Good John, August Miriam, and I now ask the Rooney Board of Condy to make a special presentation to John and Miriam. Cogorges, August Gramayev. We would also like to make a small presentation to the ARA, so maybe the ARA could join us, and the President of the Ulster Council, Micheál Greenan, and the Vice President of the Ulster Council. Tom. sponsor as well, John Malloy, has a set of jerseys which he wants to draw amongst the clubs that are here. So I'd ask John to make that draw now. This is a set of jerseys. And the winners are Kilchara. How about that? The Kistler, as you know, you've got envelopes, and we're grateful for your donations, but the Kistler has a box, and we want to make that draw now as well. For €100. Anne Gallagher, Culdaff. €50. Pat Carr, Portmarnock.
Pat Carr, Portmarnock, yeah. I'll give it in a second.
Third prize is a Donegal jersey. And it goes to Michael McMahon, East End, Bundoran. And the fourth prize is a football.
No. Is that Sarah? Sarah Maloney.
Sarah Maloney in care of McCool's GAA Club. That's it, isn't it? Nothing else.
That's all. And the proceeds, I'll tell you what the proceeds. No, it doesn't matter, yeah, it's okay.
And the Kistler has informed me that he has raised €1,620, so we're grateful for that. And on talking about fundraising, I would like to thank especially the Donegal Supporters Club and the Dublin Supporters Club who are with us here this evening for their efforts over the last year, and we wish them all the best for the coming year. Just to wrap up again, I want to thank especially the members of the Tyrconnell Gaels Club who are with us here all the way from London, and I'd like to welcome them here and thank them for making the effort of coming all the way to be with us here this evening. We appreciate our guests who have turned up on the night, because this is a very special night. It's a very special night for all the Gaels of Donegal, but it's a special night as well for the people who have got the special awards here tonight, and one person in particular, and I hope you won't mind if I single him out, that is Jack Hannigan. A man that has worked behind the scenes all his life and will continue to do so. And as we go to Ballymafey for the new league in the coming year, Jack will be there as usual, totally dependent, and we're very grateful to the Sean McGull's Club and to Jack Hannigan for the amount of work that he does there. So, I would like to take this opportunity as well to wish Brian and his panel all the best for the coming year. As you know, they've been in training now since the end of October. It's a long year ahead of us, and hopefully that we can play right up until the end of September and achieve what we all want to achieve and what we did achieve in 1992, and it'd be nice to do that again. And hopefully with the amount of preparation that has gone in over the last number of years, that we will either this year or next year achieve that and get to Croke Park on All-Ireland final day, and it's what we all wish for, and I know that every effort is being made by Brian and the lads to try and achieve that goal, and I wish him all the best. Tá sé géirí máil san éiche agus ní chuine me sibh níos fuide, ach tá me fér waoch thar coiste na condaí Dave, the Helagunya, Hannigan Shaw, Levinian and Shaw Nocht, August, the Sulagum, Kame Blian, Mayhagan, and Savlina Tamahron, Karamila Mayhagov, August Land of Awala.
Again, my good, dear nice.